Welcome to Good Muse Music. Okay, today I'm going to discuss chords in DADGAD tuning, and I'm going to go through the tuning once again using just the guitar, even though I have my snark tuner sitting on top of my headstock. I'm going to take you through the guitar tuning as if you lost your tuner, or you don't have a tuner, or you have your phone tuning app, or whatever else in your devices. This will take you through the tuning process, not using a tuner. So, and then I'll get into the chords today. Today I'm going to cover the C, the F, and the G chords, and I'm going to show you the neck diagram. If you can see that, there we go. The chords are on the bottom, but I'm going to give you a different sheet for that. The letters are all there on the neck. Everything's pre-planned from standard tuning to the DADGAD tuning, so that's what the note diagram looks like for your fretboard. From open strings on top of the diagram, going down towards the bottom, we have the 12th fret. Okay, you can see that the letters outside the diagram are the open strings, and on the very last part, which is right, if I can get to it, point to it right here, this section right here, that's 12th fret. So you can see there's a repeat of the notes right there. Okay, and there's going to be a modified chord diagram sheet, which I'm going to include and show you right here. So those are all the chords that I'm going to display to you. You can see with the G chord, there's a arrow pointing up and an arrow pointing down. Those are option ways of playing the G chord. The 4 on the side here represents the 4th fret. If I can get to it right there, that's where the 4th fret's going to be, and there's a fingering right there. So I'll discuss that when we get to it. Okay, you can see all my diagrams are handwritten. Excuse me. So handwritten diagrams are like, I do them all the time when I teach. I just write them on out. Some people use chord stamps or neck diagram stamps, or they just simply print out sheets. There's all kinds of ways of creating. I do it old school. I handwrite everything. So that was the way I used that technique and that methodology. I used that to memorize the neck. I actually just took blank fretboard diagrams and wrote the letters in constantly. Okay, and the reasoning for that is because when you play the chords, you play scales, you hear music, you're hearing those letters of the alphabet going by. I talk about this a lot in just about every video I put up here. The letters of the music alphabet, A through G, are what basically those 7 letters of the regular alphabet, the first 7. We use them in music all the time. We use them to create our chords, we use them to create melodies and that sort of thing. And when we're writing music, we're not thinking about a lot of these things. We just create, but after it's done, we can go back and evaluate what we did. So if you know the letters of the alphabet, you can easily plot out other ways of playing chords, say in this tuning, the DADGAD tuning. So without further ado, I'm going to move you into the tuning. So I'm using my open strings. I'm going to use my fingers to play. You can use your pick to play the strings. It really doesn't matter. It's all preference. So right now, I'm in standard tuning before I go any further. The string letter collection is E, A, D, G, B, and E, right? From low E to high E, okay? Again, bottom string, top string, not the other way around, okay? We're dealing with sound and register and range on the instrument, so all your low sounds are at the bottom. This is not the top, this is the bottom, because we're dealing with sound and pitch. Top string is over here, it's not the bottom string, it's the top string, okay? Because of the register of the note. The note is played, and we hear this high pitch, right? If we play on the low side, the bottom of the guitar, that's the low end. That's the the basement sound of the guitar, which we're going to affect right now. Okay, so going from standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E, into DADGAD. Okay, so low E string goes down to a D. So to do that, we turn the tuning machine clockwise. I'm using my D string to tune the E string that I just turned and lowered it to the letter D. So we're separated by an octave there. These are both Ds, 1 octave apart. I can make adjustments. So that's all set. So I have the DAD part of the tuning. You can see there's power chord sound. That's actually an open power chord, D5 chord. Now if you go to 2nd fret, you get E5 and so on and so on. But we're going to cover just the C, the F, and the G chords today. Okay, so the DAD part of DADGAD is settled. Now we go to the GAD part. G string, B string, but we gotta lower the B string down to an A. So I'm gonna take my A string, the 5th string, play that, play the 2nd string, and loosen the string. I'm turning the tuning machine counterclockwise. And I'll make adjustments to the tuning as I go. So we're just about there. Now the last string I'm going to affect is going to be the E string, the top E string. Okay, back to my open D string. Okay, counterclockwise to loosen, clockwise to loosen on this side, counterclockwise to loosen on this side. Okay. To tighten it, you go clockwise. To bring it back up. So there you go. Okay, so now we're in tune, and onward to the chords. So the first chord I'm going to play for you is the C chord. That's a little out of tune, so I'm going to go back and check. Better. So with the tuning, I'm just strictly going right into the chords from the tuning itself. Ideally, you want to have it settle a little bit before you play. You know, just double check your tuning. Of course, you can use your tuner if you have one. I just showed you the methodology of using the guitar itself to tune the guitar. But of course, if you don't have any issues with your app, with your tuner, batteries are fresh, you have your phone, you got access to it, things are working properly, you don't have to worry about it. You can always go back and retune a few times. I'm just doing it just for the sake of the speed of the video. Okay, so back to the chord. Sorry about that. Okay, so this is a C chord, and the notes in the C chord are C, E, and G. And you're going to find as you play through these different chords, and if you go through the neck diagram and plot these out, you can have these 3 letters in any order you want, and this chord does just that. It has different locations for the lettering. Okay, so I'm playing an E on the D string, E on the E string tuned down to D. E's at 2nd fret. With my first finger, I'm playing the next note C, which is in a normal spot for a C, like in the C chord. So that's 3rd fret on the A string, and middle finger plays an E, which is normal for the D string because we didn't tune that one. We left it alone. So you got your E, your G, and your E, your C, and your E right there. Okay, so you got 2 E's that are actually separated by an octave there. Okay, 2 E's and a C. E, C, and E. Index, ring finger, and middle finger. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the B string, where the other note was that I played. Okay. I got it, the C note right there. Normally at 3rd fret on the B string, it's a D, but we tuned that string down. So C is located there instead. It went in a whole step higher than the normal spot. So there it is. So we have 2 E's, we got 2 C's, and a G. Okay, and there's the C chord. Okay, we're playing everything but the top E string. We're not playing that string. That string is out. It's got an X over it. Okay, so we're going to skip that one. Oh, hello. There we go. You can play finger style, pick style. And then once you play the chord in a style you want to play it in, right hand technique, pick style, finger style, doesn't matter. It's your preference. You can experiment with both. And you can do anything you want to the chord. You can take notes away, put them back in. You get all kinds of really interesting things. So let your imagination go crazy. All right, next chord, F chord. So this one, it sounds like a regular F chord you would play on the top strings in this fashion, where you would have, these notes. But you can hear, it sounds like a cool chord, by the way. That's nice, but it's not an F chord. So it's part of an F chord, but it's not quite an F chord. Okay? It almost sounds like there's a couple of tunes that have that type of sound to it. So anyway, when you play around with the chord, you may stumble upon a couple of things inadvertently. But for this purpose and this tuning, there's your F chord. Okay? So here I'm playing the top string. In this case, if I want to, I could play the low A, because there's 3 notes in the F chord, F, A, and C. So if I want, I can include the A in the mix. That would give me an A and F underneath my middle finger on the D string, which is the normal location for F. A is going to be set up there, just like on the G string, 2nd fret on that string is the A, and of course now the C is a 3rd fret, so we have F, A, and C right there, which is also what we're going to use for the G chord coming up. Okay, so we have a chord form now. So the chord form is really handy. I'm giving myself a little more volume here. That comes in super handy for if you want to take that sound and move it around. So when you add more strings into the mix, it really gets interesting. So that's the core of this particular F chord with the way it's set up here. Okay, and I added on top here, I added an F note. So I got 2 Fs, 1 A, and 1 C, but still an F chord. Okay. Now I use this hand shape. You'll see coming up. If I take the entire chord shape and move it, I get a G chord. Okay. So here I get a G, a B, a D, and a G on top. That's the spelling of a G chord. Okay. So I got the root, 3rd, 5th, and octave right there. Okay. So the root name of the chord is on the bottom string, in this case the 4th string. So that's going to be holding all the root notes of all the chords. So if I want an A chord, I can jump up a whole step and move around with the same hand shape. All major chords, all different chord names because of where the letters are along the D string when you move your middle finger. Okay? So, but today it's just the 3 chords, a C chord, an F, and a G. You might hear some funkiness with those 3 chords, the way I play them, right? So that's the thing too, you can make adjustments. So with this chord, if I refinger the very first chord, which was this, I can actually take out this bottom note, get rid of it, and just keep the A string part of the chord, which was this, where the ring finger was hanging out here. I can take the chord and reshape it. And then if I want to, I can keep that note, which before was my pinky. Now I can change it to just the ring finger. Okay, and it sounds like a regular standard C chord. So now if I want to move to the F chord, I can just simply move. And it sounds like a very stock way of playing the chord progression, right? But now the tuning is such that if you want to take that C chord, for instance, throw in the other strings, totally different deal now. So that's a G chord, but I got a D and an A string in there too. Sounds completely different. So it gives you all these possibilities. You may not like that core collection of sound, but it's a way of demonstrating what's in the chords. And the neck diagram, going through that, if you kind of lay out the tones, and I'll put this diagram back up again, as long as you have the 3 letters that I described in each of the 3 chords, you can play these chords anywhere you want. Doesn't matter where, you know. As long as you have a knowledge of where those notes are, you can create your own handwritten chord diagrams on your own. So that's the thing, you know, with knowing the spelling of your chord. To see a neck diagram labeled between the open strings and 12th fret in this case, I can actually go and play these chords anywhere I want. So that's the benefit of sitting down, diagramming your fretboard out. You get all these other ways, these other voicings of playing these 3 chords, and you may find the batch that you like. So that's the whole thing too, is you can make decisions based on a set of terms and a set of, like, you know, elements that are in a chord. So if you know what's in something, you can play it somewhere else, provided you have a layout that you can follow. So that's the purpose of writing out a neck diagram or seeing one, since like I just showed you at the beginning of this video. So there you go. So there's 3 chords you can play with and do whatever you want with them. It's up to you. So I'll conclude with this video. If you like what you saw today, feel free to like and subscribe. You know the drill. And I got more coming. And like I mentioned in a prior video, the complexity of what you see here is going to start to increase over time. So I hope this particular video on tuning with DADGAD tuning and some chords to start you off with. Hope you find it useful. And feel free to comment in the comments below if there's something else you want to see me cover in regards to this video. Okay, and I appreciate you being here, and I'll talk to you soon. Stay tuned for the next video. Thank you so much.